Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for that favorite show of yours again, the Bill Crane Report, and I'm right here with my good friend Dwayne Weiss, and we're going to give you some special spin and opinions on the problems of the day.
Hang on to your hat, because here it comes.
Here it comes. One of our loyal viewers who enjoys our program has said, would you guys comment, please, on your feelings about Elon Musk?
Okay.
So,
What'd the other viewer want?
wanted to know when we're going to knock this stuff off and get serious. Have at it first.
Well, he called me. He wanted to know if I'd split 22 million apiece, or 22 billion apiece, and go in on a deal. I said, no, Elon. I said, you're on your own on this one.
It's all yours, baby.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. I mean, no man can do what he's done.
No, you're right.
If you don't have your stuff together.
Yeah. We that's so beyond us. We can't even conceive anything like that.
No, I mean, I feel if I were in a conversation with him, that's kind of where I would be with talking to him.
He's obviously a very driven person, and I don't mean that as a pun again with Tesla, but
well said.
With that kind of money, that kind of wealth, and that kind of. I must be just a lazy old fart, because I wouldn't be busting my hump out there trying to acquire this and acquire that. I'd be laying on a beach someplace enjoying myself.
Do you know he enjoys doing what he's doing?
I think you're right.
And he really enjoys, I think, dropping a bombshell from time to time on his Twitter account and watching the fallout.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt. Look, I mean, he's started Tesla from a dream.
Yeah, well, an idea.
And he's built it. Now, granted, he had money to start with.
Yeah.
He didn't come from a poor family.
No.
But look what he has done with Tesla.
Yeah.
And then take a look at SpaceX.
Oh, my God. He's like NASA plus.
Yeah, he's embarrassing NASA.
Yep.
And, which, by the way, goes a long ways towards letting private industry take care of things as opposed to government agencies, which hire too many people, they bump into each other.
Too layered.
And they more or less specialize in lengthy, boring meetings without deciding anything. But the other thing, too, that we forget about is his boring company, where he bores tunnels. And he's a concept that he just said, look, let's just go straight down and let's just bore. Why are we digging? And guess what? He's right.
Yeah. He's, like you said, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's got the means to do what he thinks should be done.
Yeah. Now, I have two questions for you.
All right.
He is obviously going to buy Twitter.
Yep.
He's boxed into a corner now. I think he got outsmarted, or maybe got ahead of himself. He thought he could drive the price down. It's not going to be able to do it without a lengthy court battle that he could lose. So he's going to pay the price that he originally quoted, and he's going to take over Twitter. What is he going to do with Twitter?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Well, I'm not a Twitter person.
No, me neither.
I put it on my iPad, and I get 200 things a day from somebody that's making some kind of comment. I don't know who they are. It doesn't make any sense. Most of them, I just delete them. So I'm not I don't understand really the concept of the.
It's a sounding board, I guess.
Yeah, I don't understand how you make money on Twitter.
Ads.
Okay, because I haven't.
There's no subscription fee.
No.
No. So I think it's the only way he's going to make money with Twitter is ads. You're going to have to put ads on Twitter. And if he can pull that off, he's probably got another gold mine
He
there.
might pull it off.
However, I'm going to come back
Yeah.
to Twitter. I'm going to ask you another question.
All right.
What is his long-range goal in life? He's going to get bored with Tesla. He's going to turn that over to bright underlings.
I think he can, or probably will, at some point become a political powerhouse, an influencer. Or maybe not the guy pushing the buttons, but the guy behind the scene pulling the strings.
Could you conceivably see him running for president?
Yes.
Because
He is U.S. born?
uh,
Sure. I don't know.
no, that's right, South Africa.
I thought he was foreign from someplace, but
Yeah, no, I don't. So he can't run.
that's right.
Then you're right.
String
The
pulling.
puppeteer.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see him doing that all
Oh, I
day
can too.
long.
I can too, and not nefariously.
Oh no,
I don't see him as an evil dictator or something that's trying to. I see him just as the puppeteer.
now, I think he'll make some big changes at Twitter.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. Now that this deal's going to go through, I'll be willing to bet you that there's a lot of people on Twitter that are working on their resumes.
Oh yeah. Because he has a certain way, whether it be SpaceX or Tesla, he has a certain way he wants to do things, and that's the way it's going to be done.
And he's not done. I mean, he's still a young man. He's going to have another idea or two coming also.
Oh yeah.
But he's got to be the man of the year from what he's accomplished.
I think if down the road, we're too old
Yeah.
to see some of this stuff, but down the road, things like if fusion ever comes to being, I would not be surprised he was the impetus behind it to get that thing going.
Yeah. We are pushing headlong into wind and sun.
Yeah,
It isn't going to work.
not by themselves.
No. So there has got to be another way. Now, nuclear takes too bloody long, and there's too much government red tape to cut your way through.
Seeding process is way too long and cumbersome.
It is. And you know what? If we got a president who said, guess what, folks? We're going to have another Manhattan Project. We're going to get nuclear plants built. And we're going to do it without a whole bunch of government interference. We're going to do it with government support. And we're going to get more plants up and running.
Exactly. Now, he's even the kind of guy that I could foresee making some kind of huge breakthrough in battery technology.
Exactly.
Something we don't even think about right now.
Well, you know what? You're right. But in the back of my mind, I've said to myself, we can generate energy if we can find a way to save it.
Right.
Yeah. And batteries, obviously, for lack of something else, batteries are the only place we can put it. But they are so big, so heavy, so cumbersome, and so bloody expensive.
Yeah, that's what I mean about a breakthrough.
Yeah.
There's something, at some point, if you look back at history in our technology, at some point there was a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And it was usually some individual that did it.
The cotton gin.
The Edisons,
Yeah. The light bulb.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nuclear power.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. I think that he is going to get, he's going to do something with Twitter. Okay, we'll go back to Twitter now. He has got something cooking back there in his head.
Oh yeah. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't just
Yeah.
shoot from the hip.
He doesn't just say, I think I'll buy Campbell's soup tomorrow.
right.
I like their chicken noodle soup. As no, you got a plan for Campbell's soup. And I think he has got something cooking about Twitter. And I think it's freedom of speech. I think he is going
I think
to
so.
say, now hear this.
Yeah.
You
I
are
think you're right.
not going to interfere with people's right to freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to cause one hell of a storm.
Yeah.
It's these people that are censoring thought
Mm-hmm.
in this country are really in power now.
Yeah.
And boy, they're not going to give that up easily.
No.
But they're running up against a buzzsaw with him, I think, anyway. But he's an interesting guy.
He really is.
Yeah. If we could get him interested in some of the things that need to be done. I mean, he's got a think tank up here.
Maybe we could get him come on this show.
There's a thought.
I'll call him this afternoon
Give him a blast and see what he says.
because I turned him down on the 22 billion, so I owe him something.
Well, I'm planning on hitting Mega Millions, so
Right? Yeah.
it's up. I have a magic number. When it gets above 300 million for the
Yep.
pot, well, it's going to be 410 this week. So I
Don't
just
even
bought
pay
the.
attention to it.
Save your money. I just bought the winning
You
ticket.
got the winning ticket. All right. You heard him, folks. Don't bother.
And if I hit the 410,
Yeah.
I can cash out at around 210.
Yeah. Easy.
Cash
yeah,
in my
yeah,
hands.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is an awful lot like 3-card Monty down in New York, 410 million. Oh, guess what, Bill? It's only 210 because, the government is going to grab taxes, the state's going to grab taxes, and God almighty. But anyway, I'll take it.
I take it too. I don't know. At this point, I don't really not sure what I'd do with it. I'm not rich. You're not rich, but we're not destitute either. I'm just comfortable.
Yeah. I'm not, and thank God. I mean, I'm not walking around with a McDonald's cup full
Yeah,
of change rattling at people.
At an intersection someplace.
Yeah.
But I'm too lazy to get involved in a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
And that ship has sailed. I'm not interested in a high-powered boat or, a 800 horsepower sports car anymore, or anything like that.
I'll tell you what,
The only thing I want is a nice car and a driver.
my dream in life has been to have a genie that lives in my glove compartment. And when I go out to the car, I say, get behind the wheel and take me to
Here,
Norway.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yep.
Sit back. Maybe I'll sit in the back seat too. I don't know.
I think I would too for a
Yeah.
while.
Well, anyway, June, I think that the future is bright for Elon Musk, and don't think we'll be running any bean suppers for him.
No, we won't.
Speaking of bean suppers, before we get into all this madness that I've got here, and I'm sure you've got some madness
I got a
too.
whole pile of madness right here.
I went to the community supper
Okay.
Kevin Roach runs,
know he runs that,
at the Grange Hall, and it's free. It's served.
Mm-hmm.
It's catered by restaurants. It's very nice. Very, very well done. So, Kevin, you're doing a great job, man. But what I enjoyed most of all was the atmosphere there. Bunch of old friends.
How many people they draw?
36 or 38
good.
the last time. But it's a well-kept secret, you know? So,
Well, you know, I think the good work that Kevin does
yeah,
is under-publicized.
yeah. No,
Not-
I
Not
agree.
many people know. There are a certain core of us
Yeah.
do.
No,
But in the general population of town, I don't think they do.
no.
I think they should.
Yeah. He's a good man.
He is a very good man.
Yeah. And the atmosphere at the dinner, there was a lot of elders there, but there were folks like us too.
Yep.
Kevin said, please come.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. And guess what? I did. And you know what it was like, Dwayne? It was like the old days up to the senior center.
Yeah.
After a lunch, everybody sat around, they drank coffee,
Coffee,
they
yep.
shot the breeze,
Yep.
and it was nice.
Yeah. I think that was the original purpose of the senior center,
Yeah, exactly.
was to bring seniors together as a
Yeah.
as a group.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Kevin has captured that atmosphere. I mean,
God bless him.
we ate, Susie and I, and we sat and we talked with the people that we were sitting with. Then we went and talked with some other folks, and then some other folks. And I mean, it was nice. I saw some people I hadn't seen for a while.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
So, you know what? It's too late to sign up because it's tonight. But you and Monica ought to come.
I think so.
Yeah,
We'll see what's going.
yeah. Kevin, or I'll give you a phone number of a lady to call and make reservations.
I just don't want to take somebody else's seat if it was.
Well, that's it. But you know what? He wants the more the merrier.
okay.
And there was plenty of food for seconds and stuff. If you wanted to go back up in the chow line, it was well done. Well done. Well, speaking of not so well done,
Yesterday, I went to CVS. I don't get the Herald, but I went to CVS yesterday, and right there up front, big rack of them. I said, oh boy, look at this.
folks, Tommy boy,
I'm Wonder Boy.
our pride and joy of New England here, and his wife Giselle Bunchen are splitting.
The cashier at CVS, I don't remember her name, but she's very pleasant, very nice lady, young lady. She said she was heartbroken. I thought, well, I don't go that far. She says, oh, I'm so upset over this. I said, oh my God, how can you? I can't relate to these people, you know.
Listen, these two have got more money than I mean. You know, did you see in the paper? He signed a contract with either NBC, CBS, somebody to become a whatever he wants
Yeah,
to
I did see
be
something about that.
announcer
Yeah.
when his playing days are done.
Carte blanche.
10 years. He signed it.
Yep.
He's getting paid. 10 years. $37.5 million.
That's right.
That's almost $4 million a year. To go on TV
Yep.
16 times and comment, or 17 times and comment on, or even in the studio and
Well, compare
comment.
that to what we get paid
Yeah.
right here.
Well, I'm putting in for a raise for
me
us. But I'm sorry, I can't get my neck in a knot over
No,
this.
me neither. I didn't.
They're both plastic
I
people.
slept well, just as well last night after I read that thing in there. Didn't bother me. In fact, it didn't surprise me.
I think, yeah, because they've been split up for quite a while, really. You know what they're like? Having and owning a Ken and Barbie doll
That's what I was
set.
going to say. Ken and Barbie.
Yep, that's what they are. They're plastic people.
Yep.
good. Good luck to both of them, but I cannot drive myself nuts over them.
I don't understand how people can live their lives. I don't mean these people. I mean us.
Yep.
They live and die by some certain celebrities that they're just so attached to.
I'll just give you one word. No, two words. People Magazine.
Which comes to our house every week.
Oh, yeah. Have you found anything substantive in that ever?
I don't read it. I throw it in her lap. Here, this is yours. The only reason that's coming is because I had a bunch of air miles. And particularly with the pandemic, we weren't going anyplace. And I'd get these things that you can convert these air miles to magazines. Well, I look at them. That's why I got that Time all the time. There was crap on there, Cigar Aficionado, and all kinds of dumb crap on there. And I said, here, pick out 8, 10 magazines that you want, and we'll use up some of them points.
Yeah.
And she picked things like, I don't know, gourmet cooking, and People was one of them. But I don't look at them. I don't. You know what? And she criticizes me too before it. I don't follow celebrities. I don't know celebrities. And I'll say to the TV, "Who's that?" Who's that? Don't you know that? I said, no. I said, I've seen him before. I don't know. Who?
Yeah,
is it?
yeah. Could have been somebody I saw at the post office last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you're right. As far as I'm concerned, if all the celebrities from the left coast moved to Australia tomorrow, I could care less.
That's right.
It wouldn't impact me. I wouldn't care about it. They're just plastic people, and
It does amaze me, though, how many people hang on what these people will say, as
I
if they were
know.
had some kind of insight,
Yeah.
or some kind of a brilliance to them.
yeah.
And most of them are dolts.
What do you think Tom's going to do now? Who's he going to hook up with? Who the hell cares?
Yeah,
I don't care if he goes out with my cat.
that's right.
What difference does it make? It doesn't make a particle of difference. Ay, ay, ay. All right, my head's hurting. We'll have to change the subject.
All right, we can do that.
Interesting couple of articles. I'll tell you how Russia's invasion has changed the world.
Oh my God.
The Indian Prime Minister, Modi, delivered a face-to-face rebuke to Vladimir Putin, despite his country's near-total dependence on Russian weaponry and its interest in maintaining a close relationship with Moscow as a counterweight to Beijing. Today's era is not an era of war, he said, and I have spoken to you on the phone about this. You know, in years gone by, Dwayne, no one would have spoken to Putin like that.
No.
Nobody. Xi Jinping, the Chinese prime minister, now he had a different spin. He rebuked Putin over the fact that China is hamstrung because of the sanctions that have been placed against Russia.
Yep.
He doesn't dare do any trade with Russia because he'll be seen as breaking the sanctions. So it's costing China a hell of a lot of money.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, and their economy is hurting because of it.
Yeah. Putin is going to be very careful with China.
Yeah,
China may eat their lunch one of these days.
because China is interested in one thing.
Yeah.
China.
China.
Yeah. At a Brookings forum on Monday, scholars explored the consequences of Mr. Putin's history-changing decision. International relations expert, blah, 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 argued that it'll be impossible for the West to restore normal relations with Russia or enjoy stability in Europe so long as Mr. Putin remains in power. All we can do is punish him. And then just one more snippet. Panelists agreed that the war has generally weakened Russia. Ukraine's defense has punctured the myth that Mr. Putin had rebuilt the invincible Red Army. His military's logistics are weak, its weapons second-rate, its tactics inflexible, and its top-down command structure obsolete. Criticism of the invasion is spreading in Russia, and Mr. Putin's reputation for strategic infallibility is being called into question. The West is more united than it has been in decades. The number of U.S. troops stationed in Europe has increased. Not a hell of a lot, but it has.
Yeah, but
And the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is strengthened by increased military spending and the impending membership of Sweden and Finland. Now, to me, the biggest change that the worst thing that Putin did was to invade Ukraine, and it solidified NATO.
exactly.
Yeah.
NATO was always a ragtag, loosely
Yeah.
organized. Everybody said, well, we belong to the organization, but we look out for ourselves first.
Yeah, yeah, but then the U.S. dragged us
Yeah.
kicking and screaming into
into it,
NATO and all that. Well,
Now, yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Exactly right. Now it's a different story, but, and that's the end result.
you know,
And I believe
NATO,
that if
the
he could have
NATO
went,
countries
Yep.
smell weakness
Yeah.
on the part of Putin.
oh, absolutely.
So now, to my way of thinking, we are at an extremely dangerous point with a madman.
Backing him into a corner.
It's my words exactly.
Yeah.
I must have the stuff printed up
Yeah, I
here.
see it going by. It's just like one of those things in Times Square.
We have backed a rat into a corner.
Yep.
What's he going to do? He's going to strike back.
He's going to strike
What's
back.
he got? Low yield nuclear weapons,
Tactical nuclear weapons.
and that's it.
Yep.
Now, we don't want that to happen. Our president has said, we'll respond in kind. Now, what the hell does that mean?
I asked myself that. What does that mean?
Yeah. And then when the reporters jump him, well, no more press conferences. So he didn't have one for 230 days or something like that.
I'm sure we have tactical nuclear type weapons.
Oh, we do.
But it's not something that we really developed because we never anticipated
Right.
going into that kind of a battle.
And stupidly, when we were having our détente with Russia, you destroy some more weapons, we'll destroy some more weapons. We destroyed ours, he did not destroy his.
Yeah, you
Gee,
can't-
there's a surprise, huh?
You cannot trust him.
No, and you know what? And you can't trust our leaders either.
No.
Because you know what? What did Ronald Reagan say? Trust, but verify.
Yep. That's
and
the
we
key.
come up very weak on
Yes,
verification.
we do.
But I think this article is right on the nose. So we're headed into deep waters, and look what we have for a brain trust.
We're in very scary times right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. I think people suspect so. I'm talking general population. They suspect so, but they don't want to admit it.
That's right. Nothing to do with nothing, but
Yeah.
a shocker this morning on Fox News. They were talking about the gubernatorial race in New York State.
Okay.
Holker, I think her name is the acting governor when Cuomo stepped down. And she's a long-term Republican congressman is running against her for governor.
Yeah.
He's 2 points behind. Huh?
Yeah.
In New York State, a Republican? And guess what that 2 points behind means? He's ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because the pollsters are not going to show her behind.
No.
And you know what's interesting is that the pollsters do this every single time we have an election. And every single time we have an election, CBS and NBC pontificate afterwards about, well, this outfit misled us, and we were led to believe that this was an honest poll, and what a bunch of crap that is.
I'm not sure you can have an honest poll.
You can't. You cannot. Now you cannot.
You cannot. I don't know where you would pick a representative group today
Yeah.
that you could say this was a evenly mixed group or a randomly mixed group. No matter where you go in this country today, you're going to find pockets or bias. Not that it's wrong, but you're going to find it. It's just the way it is. True randomness is very, very difficult in mathematics.
It is. You're absolutely right. And you know what? The cell phone is the reason.
Oh yeah.
Now, the only people pollsters can call are landlines.
Yeah.
So, so what do they get? They get old goats like me that are housebound, and
Yeah, me too.
I mean, my biggest fun in life now is polishing my false teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, heavy stuff like that. And some of them, and my father-in-law, God rest his soul, used to talk to the pollsters and answer their questions because he was lonely.
Yeah.
So this is the group you reach. That is not a photograph of USA.
No.
So how you poll them? I got to tell you something. They should publish numbers like our poll is plus or minus 30%
Yeah.
accurate.
Well, some of them are that far
Yeah.
skewed. But I think today the polling numbers are too small too.
Yeah.
They take the base is much too small, and then they got their logarithms and their artificial intelligence, and they expand on this stuff. Well, that doesn't come out right.
No, it doesn't. Because if you get a string of 10 wild men
Yeah.
and put that into the computer, you would be convinced that everybody in the U.S. is insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it just simply doesn't work. Now, to follow up on Russia one more time
Sure.
here,
It's a big country.
What-
We got a lot of subjects there.
why Russia lacks smart weapons? Article in the Wall Street Journal. Guess why?
I got
They
an idea
have
why.
never developed the ability to make semiconductors.
Yep.
You know what they do? Steal ours and copy them.
That's right.
Yeah. So what happens is that Moore's law says that a semiconductor will shrink so many times as time passes, as they make them smaller and smaller and load them with more information. He said about the state that the Russians are in is the only thing they can brag about is we get the biggest semiconductors in the world. They're so far behind because it takes them so long to reverse engineer these things, and they never get it right.
Plus, their military is composed of, for a better lack of a better word, grunts, slogging through the mud with a rifle.
They don't want to be there.
No, they don't want to be
No.
there. It's the
And-
conscription army, no motivation, and it's got that old T-O-N-E or O-N-E of top, middle line, third line, fourth line, and there's no movement up. If you take one peg out of there, everybody below them falls apart because there's nobody trained to step up.
The chain of command
Yep,
is in poor shape.
that's right.
I must call the commissar, man.
Now, I can't make any decisions
No,
because I'm
can't do it.
It's not my.
Otherwise, I go to the gulag.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, they are getting folks resisting now in Russia. They're saying, hell no, I won't go, like the kids used to say about Vietnam. And so Russia has got some real problems. Plus, World War II or slightly better tanks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
artillery.
God, I saw some of their. Well, they were destroyed, but they were still. They looked like old GMCs from about 1952.
That's what they do. They bought them, they got them on Lend-Lease,
Yeah.
and they copied them and said, oh, this is how they do this. Oh, okay. And they keep on making them. They don't have the wherewithal to improve them because they don't have the market. So it's the government doing it, and we know how that works. So the Russians have also got their artillery. They do not have smart artillery. Where we have semiconductors in the nose of our artillery that finds the target and hits it.
Yeah.
Those, that box that fires either 6 or 8 rockets all at the same time are loaded. Those things are all smart, and they go to different targets and they find them. And that is what is changing the whole thing, is we've given them to the Ukrainians, and they're eating the Russians' lunch.
They are. I was kind of dubious. Well, I still am a little dubious on whose side you believe. I think the Ukrainians are sometimes stretching the truth a little bit, and I think the Russians are compacting the truth a lot. So there's a little difference there, but there's just too much in indications that something's going on. When you saw that well, I think it was the border with Georgia, was 18 miles long, cars backed up trying to get across. And then I read a thing about somebody interviewed, I don't know which news was interviewing people as they came across. And they noticed that women were coming across first. And that's because the men jumped out of the car a long time ago because they were afraid to get up to the border.
Yeah.
And then they were going to be arrested or immediately put in the military. So they got out and they went through the woods and over the fields and stuff. Mama and the kids stayed in line for 12 or 15 hours and drove the car across.
Yeah. Yeah. The Russia is, I can see someone killing Putin. I can see that happening.
That's another thing. I agree with you there.
And then I can see a complete collapse of that country.
Yeah.
And I can see us having to feed them
Yep.
when the whole stinking mess implodes.
But I just hope it's somebody there that does it, not somebody from outside.
Oh, it's got to be somebody there
yeah,
that does
I mean,
it. Yeah.
one of their trusted.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be an insider.
Yeah, with absolutely no connection whatsoever to anybody else.
If it's somebody like that, when they tried to assassinate Hitler, they
Yeah.
wanted to blow up the staff meeting.
Yeah.
All right? And that would be the ideal thing to do. Now, he's smart enough, I think.
Oh,
Putin.
he won't.
He's a survivor.
His security is extremely tight.
Yeah. So it's going to be difficult. It may have to be a smart missile that takes him out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how it can be anything else, to be honest with you. But then you have to know where he is,
Yeah.
right down to the nth.
Yeah.
Now, who can figure that out? Probably us with our satellites. We probably know where he is. But if we share that information, who are we sharing it with? Do we trust them?
That's right.
Um,
But in the world of cloak and dagger today, I think we know more than anybody knows.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure of it. Yeah. And you know, the other thing that bothers me, because there's a lot of things that bother me, but the other thing that bothers me, we turned down a trade deal with Great Britain, a free trade agreement recently, and the Biden administration just said, no, we're not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
And that is the stupidest thing that this
Because we had the opportunity to
administration
become an
has done.
absolute prime partner, and it would have been much to our advantage.
This is one of our best allies around the country.
Exactly.
This is the people that started our country. We share a common background with them. My God, we fought beside them in World War II and defeated Nazi Germany.
And they appreciate it yet today.
Yeah, they do.
unlike some other countries like
right.
France. They still are
That's
mad.
right.
They're still mad that we bailed them out.
Yeah, yeah. And yet, the Democratic Party hates them.
I don't understand.
You know, and
I think
Biden,
I'm getting too old to understand some of
yeah,
this stuff. I think.
but you know, answer me this one. Obama. The first thing he did when he moved into the White House, into his office, is he took the bust that Winston Churchill that the Brits had sent to us and sent it back.
I have no idea.
You know, in other words, don't want to have anything to do with you folks.
The only thing I never was a fan of Obama. I thought he could deliver a great speech. He could look you in the eye and pee on your leg and tell you it's raining,
Yeah.
and you would believe it.
He could talk a possum down out of a gum tree.
That's right. But other than that, I don't know what
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah. All right. Here's a headline that. Oh, I got a couple of things coming up that are beautiful.
Okay, go ahead.
NASA practices killing asteroids.
Oh yeah, I saw that on TV
Yeah.
when they hit that.
And they got a picture of this flying
Yep.
bat that rammed into the asteroid. Whatever happened? The sounds of silence are deafening.
we won't know for almost 90 days. That's it.
90 days?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Whether the orbit has changed.
Yeah.
We know that it left out yesterday said a 6,000-mile trail of debris. That's how much stuff
Oh,
came out of
really?
it. Yeah.
All right. Well, they didn't say anything about that.
But
In
you only
this
have
article.
to nudge these things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tiny thing if they change the thing.
It's like jerking the steering wheel. Nothing really happens right away, but the long-term trend
Long-term,
is
yeah.
you cross over to the other lane and hit somebody head on.
Here you only got if you move that a millionth of a fraction of a milligram
Yeah.
or centimeter or something, it's going to, in the long run, it's going to be thousands of miles or hundreds of thousands of
It'll
miles.
go someplace else.
Yeah.
you know. So it's going to be interesting to see if it moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would
But
be
the
nice.
movement is so, what I saw in that thing, it was so, they knew it was going to be so slight because the thing only weighed 1,150 pounds against something that weighed
Yeah.
billions of pounds.
Yeah.
But that's why they got to measure over the months to see if there's any movement.
Interesting. All right, you answered my question. Now, answer this one.
Okay.
Girls, this is the Wall Street Journal, by
Okay,
the
yeah.
way. I mean, can you imagine this full-page article about girls leaving basketball?
I didn't know that.
Well, participation has declined, and more sports options and the physical demands of the game are the reasons. But if you read deeper into the article,
Okay.
the participation rate has dropped quite a bit in basketball.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And, well, let's see here. In Texas, powerhouse girls basketball teams are drawing as many players as ever, though open enrollment policies and programs limp along with depleted rosters. Girls basketball participation in the state has dropped 38% over 20 years. Now, they've done a lot of work on this. First of all, the girls said basketball is very demanding, it's very hard work, it's very physical.
Granted.
They are a study in Iowa. Many of the girls are choosing sports that require less specialized skill and exertion than basketball. I think club volleyball and softball and soccer, in some respects, are doing okay because they don't require the physical task on your body that maybe basketball does. I have a couple more snippets here, and then we'll
Okay.
get to my point. The number of girls' basketball teams in Nebraska has dropped 12% over the last 20 years. Meanwhile, the number of girls playing high school sports overall in Nebraska rose nearly 11%. The increase came in part from the growth in the number of girls competing in bowling and wrestling, both which happen in the winter, the same season as basketball. So that's kind of a dichotomy there. But the rate of boys basketball has only declined 4% over 2 decades. Now we get to the end and the key point.
The wise.
I think the biggest reason for girls not participating in basketball, and I know this is silly, it's not a cute sport, said Gleba, mentioning the skirts worn in tennis and the spandex shorts worn in volleyball and running. She said she hopes the practice of WNBA players wearing glamorous outfits into arenas will help the game appeal more to teenagers. In the age of Instagram and TikTok, basketball also suffers in comparison with sports perceived to be girlier. In other words, they want to be girly girls, not mannish girls.
You can take that study and find, going to a school, or just say a good sized high school, and you can pick out enough people to justify that. But there's other factors, I think. And as you were reading, I was thinking about the difference in sports. I think that basketball, particularly basketball today, what do you see? They're all
Tall.
6'6", 6'8", 6'10", even the girls up there. A girl that coming up in grade school and she's normal size or an inch short, she's not even going to look at it because she says, "Oh, I'm never going to. I can't compete with that.
I'm not a giant.
I'm not a giant. I can play soccer,
Yeah,
probably well, or I can play hockey even.
yeah.
But I sure the hell can't play basketball against
right.
these girls that are all 6'6".
And not only that, but girls basketball has followed the trend of the NBA. It has become an extremely physical sport.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember the early days of basketball? No contact? Remember,
Yeah.
remember calling a foul, you brushed the guy?
There was a time in girls basketball they could double dribble.
Yeah.
Because they didn't think they could handle it otherwise. Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting that girls want to be girly girls.
Some do. There's
Yeah.
there's no denying that.
Yeah.
And to them, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I had a girl working for me once, and we had a conversation about this sort of thing. And she said, "You know, I like wearing makeup, and I like dressing nicely." She said, "I'm a girly girl. Now, I can do the other stuff, but I really prefer being a girly girl." And that's kind of frowned upon by the feminists. You know? You gotta be a slugger. You gotta, take it away from the men.
Oh yeah. But there are those that girls that participate in boys wrestling teams, or not boys wrestling. They're wrestling teams now. They're not. Very few are splitting male and female. It's just by weight class.
This is
The biggest drawback in that came not from the girls, but from the boys. If you were in the 100-pound, 110-pound class, do you want to go out there and get beat by Miss Susie? And what are the other kids going to say the next day in class?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, we've gone through this so many times. boys and girls are different.
Of course they are.
But, oh, no, that's not what the feminists are saying.
Right.
Yeah. Well, as we talked about in that article a couple of weeks ago, when it comes down to dating, well, I guess we are different.
Yep.
Wow, what a breakthrough that is, huh?
Amazing.
Must have been quite a think tank that came up with that. I got one more in my compendium of knucklehead stuff.
Okay.
So up in Canada at James Smith Cree Nation in Saskatchewan, 300 miles north of Montana, there was a guy running amok with a knife and ended up killing 10 people and injuring 18 others. And it was sort of in the beginning, two brothers allegedly went on a rampage, but doesn't look like that was the case. Looks like one brother tried to stop the other brother, and the bad brother killed him. That's kind of what they're coming up with. The bottom line, they're looking for the reasons for this. The bottom line, I guess, is, look, we're way the hell up in here. We've been ignored by everybody. We have a school system that's not even a school system. And the villages are nothing but drug addicts and drunks.
Yep.
And no one cares about us. And we are thumbing our nose back at them. Nobody cares about you either. Kind of an attitude. And this was in the Wall Street Journal. And a great big article.
5.
And that's what it came down to.
Yep.
We're drug addicts. We're drunks. We're living in an insulated society that's inbred, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Let me just give you first
Yes.
thing that would strike me on that is, if in fact these were all the factors that drove this person to do it, why only one? There's hundreds of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't expect 50 of them to go crazy, but not just one. And I think a lot of that stuff is, he's a wacko.
Well, he had been convicted 59 times,
There you go.
and nothing was ever done about him.
Now, I'm not saying that kind of living in that kind of conditions, I would probably go bananas up there. I don't think I'd stab somebody.
Yeah.
But I might go out and talk to trees or something. I don't know. But
Problem comes when the trees start talking
talk
back.
That's right. Because some of them places up there are not only isolated, but poor, cold,
No jobs.
dark. Even in the summer times, the days are short.
Yeah.
But in the wintertime, they're non-existent.
Yeah, exactly
You
right.
just go. It's hard living. It's hard life.
They mentioned the word insulated here.
Yeah. That's
They are.
yeah.
And I think what happens, I've got to believe what happens, is that they become so demoralized
Yeah.
that they lose, well, I don't want to call it sanity, but they lose all direction in life.
Yeah,
And
right.
when you take,
That's why you've got all those areas. Alcoholism is now drugs, but it used to be just alcoholism. That's why that was such a big problem. It was a mental escape for them.
yeah. When you remove hope from someone's life, well, you might just as well drive a stake through his heart.
Yeah.
And you know, we have a situation like that in this country,
Oh, yeah.
in the inner cities.
Yep.
No jobs, okay? No, rotten education, no hope.
Yeah.
And what are we seeing? We're seeing crime.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I want something. I got to go take it. And the thing of it is we've given up on the idea of punishing these people.
That's a good point. That's another point that we don't address in this country,
Yeah.
or we don't address it correctly.
We don't address it correctly. Yeah, we don't address it worth beans, but yeah. If we do address it, it's from just one particular angle. And when you're in the inner city like that and you've lost hope, inflation, when it hits, hits you with a double or triple whammy.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And how about rents? Landlords, I guess to be a successful landlord, you have to turn a good profit. But in order to do that, you got to be one tough guy.
Oh, absolutely.
And that, I don't know. I keep saying to myself, we've got to be able to solve this problem. You know what? We're going to have to get Elon Musk working on this.
That'd be a damn good idea.
Yeah. How do we solve this? Kevin Roach has a travel trailer down at his repair shop. Mm-hmm. He sold it. And he had a sale sign on it. He owned it. Thought he might like it, and then he's so busy. So anyway, he's turned around and sold it. So he said, go pull down the stairs and go and look around. He says, this is really a neat thing. And guess what? There's all kinds of space in there. One side of it pushes out.
I've seen those expandable ones, yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, for the chronic homeless, if he bought that for $19,000 or $29,000, whatever the hell he paid, if we asked a company to build 500 of those, we'd probably drop the price in half.
Yep.
And wouldn't that be an approach to homelessness?
Maybe.
The problem is, where do we find the land? Well, it's way out in Western Mass. Oh, great, we'll put them out there. There's no jobs out there.
There's
no transportation out there. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll probably have to solve this problem in the second half of the show.
Well, you remember when Hurricane, whatever it was, hit New Orleans?
Oh, yeah.
They had thousands and thousands of trailers, or I call them trailers, little campers that they were going to put people in. Didn't work.
I know, the FEMA.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in a Casson, Mass, living in a tent, do you really think they're going to say, I don't want to live in a manufactured house?
No, of course not.
No. But the folks in New Orleans weren't interested in it.
They weren't interested.
Even though it's going to save their life and give them a place to hang their hat for a year until the city rebuilds or whatever.
People can be funny. People's strange when you think what they're going to react to.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I think we have probably run the gamut on this first section of our show today.
Yeah, I think
so, folks, here's your chance to run to the ladies' room or go to the refrigerator with both hands and get a couple of cans of Miller High Life. Or maybe just throw yourself on the floor and cry. I don't know.
Yeah, but you can do something.
Yeah, do something for a few minutes here while we rejigger, and we'll be right back.